So hello and good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're coming from. And let's proceed with another supervised learning algorithm, that is logistic regression. So Aditya Bobde, please continue.
Okay. So, am I audible, Atharva?
Yep.
Okay, so yes, I will just take a quick recap of what we have studied yesterday. So, we have gone over to the concept of linear regression, which we use to predict the continuous values. Continuous values is necessary for predicting linear regression. Okay, so anyone can tell me what evaluation metrics did we studied yesterday for linear regression? I want a quick answers, replies in the chat box. Which evaluation metrics we used for yesterday in linear regression?
Lean. Yeah, okay, got it.
Okay,
Sonali.
Sonali, great. Sonali got it. Okay, what about others? Only one student attended yesterday's lecture. Okay, Nakul has got the answer. Okay, and for best fitting the line, if you want to find the best fitted line which has the least error, which algorithm we used for convergence? Which optimization algorithm we used? We use an optimization algorithm yesterday. What is the name of the optimization algorithm? Gradient descent. Great, Ishita. Okay. Great. Okay, so you remember what I taught yesterday. Okay, so we will be moving on to the logistic regression part. Okay, so it also comes under the category of supervised learning, but don't get confused by the regression part. Regression means, in general terms, predicting continuous values, but this is not the case with the logistic regression. It's just the name of logistic regression. So what it does is it tries to classify an object. Classification means either yes or no. Either you will, so there is a sunny weather and you want to predict either I will go out for playing or not. So there are only two classes. There is not a middle class in these. Okay. So they are discrete values. Discrete mean either one or zero, yes or no, either I will play or not. So logistic regression is a classification algorithm used to assign observation to a discrete set of values. Okay, so pay attention to this term discrete. Discrete means either 0 or 1. Okay, so logistic regression transforms its output using a logistic sigmoid function. Okay, so don't need to worry about the logistic sigmoid function, we will be seeing it quickly. So can anyone also tell what was the equation of linear regression yesterday? Mathematical equation, what we studied about linear regression. I'm not asking about the optimization algorithm or RMSE. I'm asking what is a linear regression equation? Yes, great. Okay. So it was similarly like y is equals to mx plus c, or else I can say it as theta naught plus theta 1 x, where theta naught is your constant, theta 1 is your slope, and x is your this x. Okay, so what is the logistic regression transforms its output using a logistic sigmoid function. Okay, so we will compare firstly to the linear regression. Linear regression help us to predict the student test. Suppose a student is giving a test. So yesterday I also told you that logistic linear regression is used for continuous values. Suppose the scores can be between 50, the scores can come 56, 94, anything. It is a continuous value. It can also take the values of 90.5. Okay, so it is a continuous value. But in the case of logistic regression, you can only predict whether the student has passed P or failed F. Okay, so there are only two categories. You can't predict continuous values. So that's the comparison with your linear regression module, that it is used for classification purpose. Okay, so there are two types of logistic regression mainly. First one is called as the binary. Binary means you only have two class, either you are pass or fail, either you will go out or not. Okay, and the second one is called as a multi-class classification. Means you have multiple categories, such as you are giving a set of data set which has a lot of animal, and you want to predict whether this is a cat or not, dog or not, or sheep or not. So there are three categories or multiple categories. There can be n number of categories. In that case, you use multi-class classification. Okay, so first one was binary and second one was multi-class classification. So we will be saying the binary classification. Okay, so we are given a data set. In machine learning, you will be mostly working with the data sets, different data sets. So you have these data sets on student exam results, and our goal is to predict whether the student has passed it or not. Okay, so we have the our times in hours, whether the student has studied for the exam and the time slept is during the exam. And on the basis of these two features, we want to predict whether the student has passed or not. Okay, so the dataset looks like this. And if we were to able to draw a linear regression boundary, we can see that we can draw linear boundary like this something. Okay, but here our main aim is to classify the outputs, either he has passed or he has failed in the particular examination. Okay, so what is the sigmoid activation? Yesterday we have studied our output was something like this, theta naught plus theta 1 x1. Okay, so it is the same thing in logistic regression. You will be using the output of this. So it is the predicted value was called as y hat and the actual prediction was called as y. Okay, so you will be using the output of y hat and you will be providing the output of this y hat to the function sigmoid function. Okay, so what does the sigmoid function does is it maps the probabilities. Okay, so it will give the value between 0 to 1. Okay, you can see the graph, you have the value from 0 till 1. Okay, so I will from this equation of linear regression, y hat is equals to theta naught plus theta 1 x1, I'll be getting a continuous values. Yesterday we have seen it like 54, 53 or 94, 93. But in the case of classification, we want the range from either yes or no. So we will be passing the output of the linear regression module to the sigmoid activation function. And what will be the function doing? It will be predicting the output from the range 0 to 1. Okay, so with the help of this range, we will be predicting our classes, either he has passed or not. Okay, so why do we use sigmoid function? Why not other function? So if you want to go into much details, so if anyone asks you why you are using only sigmoid activation function in logistic regression, why not any other function? Okay, so the first reason is that sigmoid derivative is easily calculatable. So you can easily calculate the derivative. So s of z into 1 minus s of z. You need not go into much detail, but if someone asks you, you need to say it that its derivative is very easy, and because of that, its cost functions becomes very easy. Okay, so yesterday we have studied that what is cost function. Cost function means you want to evaluate your model on the cost function. Okay, so how is your model performing? So that's called as the cost function. Okay, so we have seen the sigmoid function. So how will you be using? So the sigmoid activation function will be raising the values from 0 to 1. So in order to map these classes, either he has passed or failed, we select a threshold value. Okay, threshold value means I am selecting like so it will be ranging, our output will be ranging from 0 to 1. Okay, so we have passed our y hat from our linear regression to the sigmoid activation function, and the sigmoid activation function will be ranging from 0 till 1. Okay, so it can take any values like 0.4, 0.6, 0.7, but we want the classes, either it should be 0 or 1. So how will we be doing that? We'll set a particular threshold. Okay, so I will be setting a particular threshold. Suppose in this case, I'm setting the threshold as 0.5. So for any value, my model classifies that it is 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. I'll be classifying my model into, and it is predicting from below 0.5, like 0.3, 0.1. I will be getting into the class 0.
Just repeat the last sentence.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm doing is, so since my sigmoid activation function ranges between 0 to 1, it can take any values like 0.4, 0.3, okay, from 0 to 1. So what I'll be doing is I will be setting a particular threshold value. Suppose in this case, I'm setting a threshold value as 0.5. So for any value, my model is getting the output as 0.6, 0.7 or 0.9. I will mark it into the class 1. I will give the label as class 1. Since it is a binary class, we only have two classes, 0 or 1. Either he has passed or not. So in the case, we are using activation threshold as 0.5. And if it is greater than 0.5, I will be classifying it into the class 1. If it is less than 0.5, I will be classifying it into class 0. Okay. So you can see from this. So if any values is here, here. Okay, so this is my class 1. Any value 0 above 0.5. Okay, so this is the blue line indicates my threshold, and any point below this, suppose I am getting this point, all this will be classified as class 0. Okay, so till now any doubt about what the sigmoid activation function does and how it is able to classify?
Just look at the green S. Okay, in the graph you can see this green S. So this green S is nothing but the sigmoid function, and its formula was written in the previous slide, that is 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z. Is it right, Aditya?
Yes,
Just
yes.
go to the slide before. Can you show the sigmoid activation slide?
Yes, I am showing that only. Is it not visible?
Ah, yeah, now it came. So see, it's nothing but you have the equation of line. Okay, so you get a y hat by fitting a line, you get a y hat, and you just use that y hat and put it in a sigmoid activation function. And what sigmoid activation function gives you? It gives you any value from a range of 0 to 1. You can see in the graph there is 0 downwards, there is 1, and in from 0.5, if you know a bit about mathematics, so from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1, this S is going, and it has the y-intercept on 0.5. And then you can just set a threshold. So in the last example, Aditya set a threshold of 0.5. So any value from above 0.5, you will consider that, okay, it's belonging to the class 1. While if you have any value less than 0.5, then you will consider it in class 0. Just like you do in normal, like whenever you are dealing with this float values. So you just like, let's say you went to a pharmacy and you went to buy paracetamol. So if it's costing 3.6 rupees, so the shopkeeper would ask you 4 rupee. Okay, he is not so forgiving. He won't ask for 3 rupees. He'll ask for 4 rupees because it's more than 0.5. Okay, it exceeds the float value of 0.5. So that's why you have to pay 4 rupee. But rather than that, if it was for, like, let's say 3.1, 3.2, something like that, so he'll say, okay, you do one thing, you just give me 3 rupees, it will be fine. So just like that, you have a decision boundary and you just try to fix that. Okay, if it exists from zero point 0.5, you will consider it in class 1. If it is below zero point 0.5, then you will consider it in class 0. So as easy as that.
Okay, so you can set the threshold value as per your limit. Suppose in this case, I'm setting my threshold value as 0.5. You can also set your threshold value as 0. If you want a more precise model, what you will be doing, you will be setting your threshold value as 0.7. So for every point that your model classifies about 0.7 till 1, it will be classifying into the class 1. Else from 0 to 0.7, it will be classifying it as class 0. Okay, so that's the main aim of the sigmoid function. Okay, so we'll be making our predictions. So our equation was as simple as our linear regression. So this was your h of x is equals to theta naught plus, so theta naught was our constant c, and this x was your slope, theta 1 was our slope. Okay, so simply I am passing the output of h of x into the sigmoid function, and it will be giving me the values from 0 till 1. Okay, so now the main aim of the all these evaluation metrics or all the algorithms is to reduce the cost function. So okay, yesterday we have seen the root mean squared error. Okay, so but root mean squared or RMSE or MSE, both are the one and the same, but in the case of RMSE you just do the squaring, as everything RMSE and MSE are the same. Okay, so we can't use the same cost function of RMSE in the logistic regression. Can you tell me why you can't use the RMSE, root mean squared error, in logistic regression? Yesterday we have seen the RMSE as a cost function. Just any random guesses will be appreciated if you don't know the correct answer. Yes. Anyone? No predicted values. Okay. Other than Sonali, if only Sonali attending the lecture. I want it to be two-way interaction. Okay. Okay. That's the good confidence Nakul has told me. He has no idea. What about others? Not interpreting continuous values anymore. Okay, Dal, you got it. It is not predicting continuous values anymore. So, okay. So that's why we won't be using root mean square error. Okay, that was the very simple thing. So in the case of logistic, you are not predicting root. Okay, so another reason is that our prediction of our function are non-linear. Okay, so you have seen the graph of sigmoid. So it ranges from 0 till 1, and the graph looks like something like this. Okay, so it is a non-linear graph. It is not a linear graph. So when you square out the results, so it becomes more non-convex function. Okay, non-convex function means in the case of linear regression, our function was typically like this. So only one point that gives us the maximum result. Okay, so this was the point we want to reach. But in the case of sigmoid, you can see that there is no such point. Okay, so that's why we want RMSE. Okay, so if we will be using RMSE, the cost function will have many local minima. So there will be many such small points which can give us the answer. But we only want one point that can give us the correct prediction. Okay, so that's why instead of MSE or RMSE, we will be using cost function called as cross entropy. Okay, so just remember the name cross entropy we'll be using as a cost function. Okay, so just don't get afraid by this formula. G of theta is equals to minus 1 by m summation I ranges from 1 to m of yi log of h theta of xi plus 1 minus yi log of 1 minus h theta of xi. It is nothing but, so inside the log value you have just your y hat. Okay, so h theta of x into xi, it is called as the normal equation of linear regression. So instead of normal regression, you can also say that it is called as y hat prediction. So the formula is y hat y into log of y hat plus 1 minus y into log of 1 minus y hat. So it is just simply the formula. You don't have to learn it by heart. This is just for your understanding. So this is the formula. Okay. So how do we get the categories? So you can see here in the case, the formula which I have written. Either you can see the bottom one or the top one formula. So this is my j of theta y log of y hat plus 1 minus y log of 1 minus y hat. Suppose if I am putting my y is equals to 0 in this case, so the whole first term will be getting as 0 if I'm putting y is equals to 0. So it will be directly getting 0. So the term which I'm remaining with is this term. Okay, so it will be either be predicted as positive or negative. If I'm substituting y is equals to 1, suppose I'm substituting here y is equals to 1. Now the second term whole gets 0. So 1 minus 1 is 0 and the log. So the whole multiplication gets 0. So in that case, I will be using my y into log of y hat prediction. So that's how the cost function works. You no need to worry about the formula, just understand the cross function which you will be using in this case is called as cross entropy cost function. And in the case of linear regression, we were using cost functions such as RMSE. RMSE is called as root mean squared error. Okay, and MSE is similar to RMSE, just you are not taking the root. It is called as mean squared error. And the third one is called as MAE. Okay, so it is called as mean absolute error. So when you have your models have more outliers means there are more errors, so data is non-linear. In that case, you will be using mean absolute error. Okay, so that's the cost function for logistic regression. It is called as cross the cost function. Finally, you want to evaluate your model on some basis, some parameters there should be there, that original. Okay, so how we are going to evaluate our model? So performance metrics used for machine learning classification where output can be true. So this is called as confusion matrix. Okay, it is called as confusion matrix. It is generally, or most of the times, it is used for classification purposes. It can't be used for regression purpose. Just take a note. So what it does is it tries to classify your output. Suppose you have predicted your value, actual value as 1, and your predicted model prediction is also 1. In that case, your output is 1. It is called as true positive. TP means true positive. Okay, after that I will be giving a classic example, so you will be understanding it much better. Suppose your actual value is negative, means you have predicted 0, but your model set is as 1. So your actual value is 0, but the model is saying it as 1. So it is called as false positive. The third case is you have predicted 1, but your model is saying no, it is 0. In that case, it is called as false negative. And the last is called as you are predicted the actual value is negative, but you are saying your model is also negative. In that case, your model is called as true negative. Okay, so we will be seeing this in the live example. Okay, so this is a typical example. So that's how I understood the confusion matrix. So consider you are gone to a doctor for a test. Okay, so this lady has gone for a test. The lady is actually pregnant, and the doctor also says you are pregnant. In that case, your model says that it is true positive. Means both the cases are in the favor. It is true positive. Suppose this man is called as Mr. X-Man. Okay, so X-Man went to a doctor for his report, and the doctor is saying that you are pregnant. So this is a false case. Okay, actually he is not pregnant, but the model is saying that he is pregnant. So it is called as false positive model. Okay. In the third case, you went to a doctor. The lady is actually pregnant, but your model saying no, she is not pregnant. So this is called as false negative. Means you are actually pregnant, but your model is saying no, you are not. Okay, Pratik, like the example. Okay, and the last case is that you went to the doctor, Mr. X again went to the doctor. So he went to a doctor Y. First he went to Dr. X, now he visited Dr. Y. And then he again does the same test, and the doctor is saying no, you are not pregnant. So actually in the real life he is also not pregnant, and the model is also predicted that he is not pregnant. So his prediction is true. So it is called as true negative. So you can see the first lady which went to the doctor that she is pregnant, and the doctor has correct, your model is correctly predicted the value as 1. Means this one is the true case. Hold on, I will clear my slides out. So this is your true case, means this is your actual labels, means you are actually pregnant, and the model also says you are pregnant. And this was your last case that you are not pregnant, and the model also says that you are not pregnant. So in accuracy, what you try to do is, so accuracy, you find the model's accuracy in logistic regression. Okay, so what does the accuracy says that your correct prediction, means the correct prediction here in the case was your true positive. Okay, so simply I will be putting as true positive, means your actual value is 1 and the model prediction is also 1. So in that case, you find the accuracy of the model. The accuracy can be represented as A is equals to your true positive, means your prediction is correct, plus the last one prediction is also correct, that you are not pregnant, and also the model is saying that you are not pregnant. So it will be true positive plus true negative upon whole values. Okay, so true positive plus false positive plus false negative, and last but not the least is true negative. So you will be getting your model's accuracy after this. So that's the evaluation matrix. Accuracy is the proportion of the true results among the total number of cases examined. Means your true predictions divided by your true predictions plus your incorrect prediction. But take a note, if your data is skewed, means there is a partiality, like the data is somewhat, say the data is biased, means so it is saying that 70% it will be yes and 30% it will be say yes no, or your model says it is 80% yes and 20% no. In that case, you can't use accuracy, so it will also get the bias. So remember, in general you can use accuracy, but your model is biased, then you can't use accuracy. So that's it for logistic regression from my side.
So the confusion matrix. Yeah. So what actually happens is it's nothing but wordplay. Okay. So the first quadrant, true positive TP. true and positive. So you predicted positive and it was true, means it was correct. So that's why true positive. Then false positive means so firstly false positive means it was the prediction was positive, but was it correct? No, it was false. False positive means you corrected like you predicted the thing was belonging to the class 1, but it was false. It's nothing but English wordplay. Okay, so just remember like this: true positive, false negatives, and true negatives. So true negative will be it was negative and it was correctly predicted. So that's why true negative. And like, do you actually get that how logistic regression is working? So if you remember about linear regression, we are just picking it up from linear regression. So here also you are just trying to fit a line, but in addition to that, what you are doing is you are passing the y hat, that is your predictions from the line, you are passing it through the sigmoid activation function. Okay, so y equals to theta naught plus theta 1 times x. So the equation of line, and the output of this line you are passing through the sigmoid activation function, and you fixed a threshold in it so that so if it exceeds from 0.1, you will select the class was 1. Else if it is below 0.5, you will see that the class was 0. So just like that. So just like linear regression, you are also fitting a line, then you are passing it through a sigmoid activation function, and you have a different gradient, like you have a different optimization formula. You have a different cost function which you are trying to reduce. And the cost function was written before. So it was the log value, if you can. So see, this was the cost function that we were talking about. So last time what you had in linear regression, it was nothing but mean squared error. Okay, it was the mean. It was mean of each of the differences of the line and the like the red points which you saw in yesterday's PPT. But this time what you are doing is that you are using this log formula. So you can just read the formula out here. So basically this is the difference. And although the name is logistic regression, but it's not used in regression. Okay? Please don't get confused with logistic regression. Although the name is regression, but what actually we are using it for? We are using it for classification. It could be binary, it could be multiple, it could be anything. ठीक है? Anyone has any doubts? कुछ नहीं समझा? Any problems? Or we can proceed with coding.
Okay, the doubts can be very silly. Okay, so there is no limit to doubts. If you even if your doubt is silly, you can just ask it. So if you are not getting doubts, either you have understood the full concept or you haven't understood a single line of it. Okay, so what I can get it from? So I want some replies in the chat.
Is it like पूरा ऊपर से गया, कुछ भी नहीं समझा, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है? Looks like everyone is just attending normal classes. Just turned on meeting.
Switched on and
हाँ, मस्त सोने गए. Actually, I used to do right. सुबह सुबह क्लास होती है ना, I just turn on our WebEx, चालू मस्त, attendance तो लग जाएंगी, and I go to sleep again.
Okay, but this is not that kind of lectures. Okay, it's a bit difficult to understand for not, but copying it. Okay, Samiksha, can you tell me the part which you didn't get it? I will repeat it for once again.
I think the analogy with linear regression, she might be confused how it's actually working. I don't know if that's it.
So I can try to summarize my model. Okay, wait for a second. Okay, so I will just summarize the model. This has yesterday you saw linear regression. So what was linear regression doing? It was trying to find the best fitted line. Okay, you are finding the best. Ignore my handwriting, please. You can hear my words. You are finding the best fitted line. Okay, best fitted line, BLF. Okay, so for best fitted line, you are using a convergence function, convergence theorem or optimization algorithm called as gradient descent, GD. After GD, you are evaluating your matrix, means you are testing on some parameters. So for evaluation matrix, you used root mean squared error. Okay, till here everyone is clear about yesterday.
So this is about yesterday. So like, is this part clear at least about linear regression? Yeah. Okay, Nakul has it clear. Anyone else? Yeah, Samiksha has also. Great.
So okay, so that was the meaning of the linear regression. You are fitting a best fit line. You are for best fitted line, you are using algorithms called as gradient descent. And once you are using a gradient descent, you are using root mean squared as your evaluation matrix. So now what happens in the case of linear or logistic regression?
एक
The
मिनट
process will
आदित्य,
be
कंफ्यूज मत हो जाना. He wrote RMSE भी we can use, but yesterday in formula what you saw was mean squared error. ठीक है? Because at the end we didn't use the root in our cost function yesterday, if you remember.
okay. Hold
So
on, I
it
will
can be anything.
get the clear in their doubts. Okay, summation I ranges from 1 to m of y hat minus y whole square. Okay, so this was your normal mean squared error. Okay, so this is normal mean squared error. And what's the difference between MSE and RMSE? Just here I will be putting the root sign. Okay, so this is the root. So now this is called as root mean squared error. So that's the simple difference. Okay, so MS both in both the terms MSE is common. Just in the RMSE you are taking the root of this MSE. Okay, so this was our model in the case of linear regression. Now we come to the logistic regression. I will be summarizing it in. So you will be doing the same step. You will be finding the best fitted line. The next step what we will be doing is you will be doing your optimization. Okay, after optimization, now you can't you won't be doing this step RMSE. You won't be evaluating your model. Okay, so once you have calculated your y hat, you are done with the prediction. You are ready with your prediction. Okay, so the next thing what you will be doing is the prediction you will be passing on to the function. Okay, the function is called as sigmoid activation function. Just remember the name, sigmoid activation function. Okay, no need to remember the formula. Okay, so if you remember it is well and good. The formula goes like 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus x. Okay, so you just have to remember that when you are passing the output from y hat to sigmoid activation function, it will be ranging from values 0 to 1. Okay, so it can be anything from 0 to 1. It can be 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 0.8. Okay, but you want class specific, either it should be class 0, class 1 or class 2. So for that purpose you are setting a threshold value called as t. So in my case I was setting my threshold value as 0.5. So anything above 0.5 was classified as my class 1, or you can say the student has getting passed, or anything below my 0.5 is getting classified as class 0, or the student has failed. Okay, after the sigmoid activation function I have got the class 1 and class 0. Now finally I will be evaluating my model. For evaluation I am using matrix called as accuracy. Okay, yesterday we have used RMSE, now you are using accuracy. You can't use RMSE in logistic regression and you can't use accuracy in linear regression. Just keep it in mind. RMSE can only be applied to linear models and accuracy can only be applied for classification models. Okay, so now is it clear?
Also, what accuracy stands for is that this correct upon correct plus incorrect. And what is this thing? It's nothing but go back, show them the confusion matrix. Okay, so you find accuracy using confusion matrix. And how you do that? So see in the top, Aditya has written it in yellow. So it's nothing but sum of the diagonals, that is true positive plus two negatives, means nothing but whatever you predicted correctly. Okay, it was positive, you corrected it correctly, so that is true positive. It was negative, you predicted it correctly, so it's true negative. So the sum of diagonals, that is true positive plus true negative upon sum of all the things. Okay. And also one more catch is there. So this is a confusion matrix for when your evaluation would be binary, when your classes would be binary. It will be true or false. It will be pregnant or not pregnant, like that. Okay, 0 or 1, yeah. But in multi-class, when you have 3 classes, 4 classes, 5 classes, you can have as much number of classes as you want. ठीक है. So what will be the catch there? So the catch would be it won't be a 2 by 2 matrix anymore. So just imagine if there are three classes, ठीक है, 0 1 2. So just imagine 0 1 2 ऊपर 0 1 2 नीचे. So it will be total 8 boxes. ठीक है, and it would like it would differentiate accordingly. So the formulas and all everything will change accordingly. See, so this would be a confusion matrix for three labels 0 1 2. So what you can use is 2 to the power n. So 2 to the power n, where n will be number of classes you have. So number of classes is 2. So 2 to the power 2, it will be 4. So you will have total 4 boxes. ठीक है. 2 to the power 3, where 3 is total number of classes. So 2 to the power 3 is 8. So you will have 8 boxes in your confusion matrix. So like that. And then from confusion matrix, you calculate accuracy.
So till now, any doubt? I'm expecting some of the doubts, or everything is clear.
People look so tense today. Something is wrong in today's weather.
Okay, is there something that it is going too heavy, or should we reduce the difficulty level of the course? So you can tell according to that. Either it's very easy or very hard. So what's the matter? According to that, we will take out the syllabus.
Okay.
What about Dal?
Daryl Ray. Daryl.
Okay, Daryl. So
am I pronouncing correctly? It's Daryl, right? Because I had a friend named Daryl. Yep, see? I am better in English than you are, Aditya, ठीक है?
Today's it seems pretty difficult. Okay, no worries. You can watch the lecture once again. We will be uploading onto the YouTube. Okay, so one more thing we have thought is, if you want some kind of assignment, okay, we won't be evaluating your assignment. We will be providing you with the data set. Yesterday that Atharva taught you on Boston housing data set. So we'll be also providing some of the data set if you want to try on your own. So that will improve your confidence in that particular metrics, such as if you are doing linear regression. We can provide data set related to linear regression, easy data sets. So yeah, today also Atharva will be teaching you some of the concepts related to logistic regression. We can also provide it data sets for logistic regression so that you can get hands-on on your machine learning algorithms. Okay, so I guess so from my part it is clear. We can move to the coding part. So everything is clear with theory. Logistic regression is classification. Yes, Prachi. Yes. We are predicting the values either yes or no. So it can be binary classification. It can be multi-class classification 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is not continuous value. For continuous value, we use regression models such as linear regression. For logistic classification, we use logistic regression. Okay. So we can move on to the coding part, Atharva, I guess so.
Of what do you want to do today? So we have Kahoot planned, right? We have Kahoot also, and we have upcoming coding part also. So what do you want to do first? Because you all seem to be pretty tense today.
So Prachi is asking, other than logistic regression, what do you mean to say? Are there other algorithms other than logistic regression for classification? That what your question means? I am not getting the question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are Okay. So there are many classification algorithms. So this is just starting. We will be seeing much more classification algorithm. So this was the first very basic kind of equation classification algorithm, logistic regression. In further classes, you will be seeing support vector machine classifier. There are decision trees, random forest. So there are many other classifiers. Okay, for classifying. This is not just one of them. Okay. So I guess so. Okay, done.
Okay. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what do you want to do first? So we can do coding before, or we can play the quiz before. It's your call. because you all seem to be pretty tensed.
So I guess so you can. Okay.
Okay, Samiksha wants to code first. Okay.
And the alternative for linear regression. Okay, so for linear regression also you can use the. So there are support vector machines can be used both for classification as well as regression. So support vector machine you can use. So there are random forest regressor you can also use. So these high level algorithms you can both use for classification as well as regression. Okay, Prachi. So there are many algorithms.
Okay, so everyone wants to code. So let's play later and let's get started with coding. So what I did was I just created a new file, nothing more. And I just wanted to give some data about what today's topic would be. So it's based on heart attack prediction. Okay. We have these attributes. So we have age of the patient, we have the sex of the patient, is the patient getting any chest pains, and the patient's blood pressure, and all the other things. Okay, I'm not great at biology. Okay, if I was great in biology I would have selected medical, but I suck at biology, so that's why I came into engineering. So I don't know about other things. So these would be what our features are. Okay, and at the end what our target would be is to predict if the person would get heart attack or not. Okay, so that's what we are going to do today. So let's proceed with the coding part. And
Okay, so each one of you please open your Colab notebooks if you want to code with him. That would be a better idea. So
yeah,
even if your code gets wrong, that's nothing. You can ask it out here only. And Colab is free of course. That's why we use Colab. It's much efficient than other platform.
actually means many people face difficulty while
Okay,
uh,
link. Okay, no. They yes, just type Google Colab. Else, Athava, can you drop the link of Google Colab? Or wait, I will drop the link. Hold on. I will drop the link. Hold on.
ठीक है, ठीक है. Will we import other libraries if I'm using VS Code? No, Daryl, just the yesterday's one. The we will use, I think we'll use sklearn, NumPy, Matplotlib, and Pandas NumPy. That's it. So, and these would be the most common libraries that you're going to use. And if you have any problem, just use, yeah. Even if you don't have any library, just do pip install. Yeah, but you would also require pandas. So just check if you have pandas. Just type import pandas and see if you have. And if you don't, you can do is pip install pandas. Yeah, you did yesterday. Great. So see, so why we are using Colab is again because you don't have to worry about installations and everything. So you can just directly code. And this data set now, so what I did was I uploaded this data set onto our GitHub. So what you have to do is you have to, okay, so I'll just give you directly this link. Yeah, but what you have to do is, so this is our repository where we upload each and every content of our machine learning bootcamp. So in week 2, I added this hard.csv. So this is the data set we are going to use today. And what I did was I just went to this raw, I just clicked this raw button. So I have this data in raw. I copied and pasted the link, and I'll keep this link. Okay, so just start a new notebook, and what you do is first importing libraries is important. So I'll import pandas as PD. So you use pandas for importing data sets. Okay, and I'll do, let's zoom if you're not able to see. So data equals to pd.read underscore, and let's see what types of values we have. Okay, sorry, read, and let's see what we can do. See, so we can read CSV, we can read Excel, HTML, JSON. Okay, you can import various types of things. So what we have data is CSV. So CSV is the most common data used for data sets. Okay, most common extension. I'm so sorry. So .csv is the most common extension for tables in our like while using data science, like in data science. So the link I gave you, just paste it here, pd.read_csv and the link, and hit shift plus enter, and let's see how our data looks like. And tada! So you have your table directly. Just do pd.read_csv and use the link that I sent you. Okay, and you have this CSV. And also, so this works for links, and also this works for offline files. So just imagine that you downloaded this hard.csv. Link not visible. I sent the link in chat box, Arya. This is the link. Okay. So this is the link. Just paste this link and you have your data right away. And even if you don't want to like use a link, what you can do is, so this pd.read_csv is used for local files as well. So just imagine, so what I'll do is I'll drop my file here. So you can see this is the file section. Okay. And here I'll upload my data set. So I downloaded this hard.csv. 1 second. So I downloaded this hard.csv and I uploaded this, and it could be any file. Is using Jupyter. Yeah. You can use Jupyter as well. It's showing error. Sambhavi, can you just paste what error you are facing? Dhanraj executed successfully. Great, Dhanraj. Okay. So this was option 1, pd.read_csv, pasting any URL of .csv file. Okay. Just make sure that CSV is there because you are using CSV data. And so this is example 1. So, or instead of using this method, what you can do is you can go to files here. Okay. And if you are using Jupyter and all, you can just keep the files together and you can upload your data set. And similarly, you can do data equals to pd.read_csv and just, okay, sorry, read_csv, and you can just give the name hard.csv. And this will work too. PD not defined. Okay, so Sambhavi, if we are if you're using Google Colab, so you have to use this line before, import pandas as PD, and then your code will work. And if you don't have the pandas package, you can do pip install pandas if you are using local environment. Okay, so just imagine if I have any other CSV extension file, so I can just upload it here and I can just directly import it using its name. So no need of using this link or anything. Okay, I can just directly use the file name and it works for local files. So you can see now I have that data. So works either ways. So the best thing is you can just directly use link, so you don't have to click here and then upload the file. You don't have to worry about that. So best thing is just find your CSV online, copy paste its link, and it will work just fine. So now you have the data. And if you remember in yesterday's linear regression, at the end, what we did was we just wanted a tabular format. So we were using sample Boston dataset. So we were just first we imported the Boston, like we used the load Boston, like we used the load Boston function, and then there was a JSON, and then we used that and we used the columns and everything, right? So it was a bit problem. So here you can just directly import CSV and you get the table right away. So this is what you generally do while importing data sets. And now after this, so once you have your data, so let's get some insights on our data. So data.info, let's see what our data has. Okay, so looks like there are 303 rows and all are integers except one, this old pick, it's float. Let's see what this old pick is. Old peak is the depression included by exercise relative to rest. I don't know what it is. Okay, so whatever it is. And let's see another thing. So what we'll do is let's describe our data. Describe. Okay, so again we have insights on our columns. So we can see total number of rows, that is 303, and then its mean, standard deviation, and all the other things. And it's done using just one single formula line. So that's great, I guess. Once you do that, let's see if there are any null values. I know there are no null values, but it's no harm to check it. So do we have any null values? So nope, we don't have any null values. So our data set is good to go. Okay, and let's try plotting the correlation matrix again. So import matplotlib.pyplot as plt and import seaborn as SNS. And then you will use correlation equals to data dot correlation, and I want the figure to be big, so I'll use fig size, let's say 20 by 20, and I'll just plot it with SNS. SNS is seaborn, so seaborn dot heat map and correlation, and I want the annotations. And you can try playing with this code. Okay, so let's see how this one looks like. So see, you have your heat map here, right? So again the correlation. So -1 would mean that if one variable is increasing, other is decreasing simultaneously. एक बढ़ा दूसरा घटा, मतलब सेम लेवल के साथ, so it will be -1. और अगर similarly बढ़ रहे हैं, so it will be 1. So if two columns are completely corresponding, so see, target would be 1, because if target will increase, target will increase. So means they are completely correlated. And negative correlation would mean that if one column is increasing, other one is decreasing simultaneously. So this is what actually correlation means. And 0 would mean that there is no correlation between the columns at all. Okay, so if you have the value 0, it means that the columns are not correlated at all. And now let's just quickly go towards trend test split. So import sklearn dot model selection, yeah, and import train test split. Okay, give me the recommendation split. Okay, sorry, from sklearn. Yep. Now why? What do we have to predict? We have to predict the target. Target would be if the person is going to get heart attack or not. So let's predict the target. So y would be target. Okay. So data, and in data I want the target column. Okay, sorry. Before that we didn't do trend test split. Okay, I can do here. And in y, in x, I can do is data, and I want every column in the data except target, right? And with, so all the rows. So let's see how x and y looks like. This is x. Okay, so x is everything except the target, and y is the target. So 1 means the person would get a heart attack, 0 means the person won't get a heart attack. So as easy as that. And now we'll do trend test split. So x train y, x train x test, y train, and y test. And just use the train test split method for x and y, and we'll use the test size. So test size is just the number of data you want to preserve. So 0.2 would mean 80% of data I'm using for training and 20% of data I would be using for testing. So train test split. And now let's look how our X train looks like. So again, the same 12 columns, 13 columns and 242 rows. So previously there were how many? 303. So out of that, 242 rows would be used for training and others would be used for testing. Okay, the variable order is x train y test, or x train x test, y train y test. If you don't get anything, what you can do is train test split and question mark. In one video, the person used x train x test, in the first, in other x train and y train. Okay, no, actually you have to be precise with whatever way you're using. Okay, see, so here also, if you can see in the examples, it's x train, x test, y train and y test. So you have to be precise with the way you're using. You can just do train test split question mark and you can get how you have to use it. This is the proper way, because then you will get mixed out with the like with the variables, right? Yeah. So now we have 242 rows and let's proceed. So what we'll do is now, okay, we have to use a standard scaler. So we have to pre-process data. Pre-processing import standard scaler. Okay, and you can use scaler equals to standard. Okay, sorry, standard scaler, and you can scale the data. Fit trans. Okay, I'll first run this, and x train equals to scaler dot fit transform and x train. Similarly for y train. X test. X test. Okay, so what we are doing is we are just pre-processing our data, and by that what we mean is that, see, we have huge number of we have used data, okay, and we want to like scalarize the data, and we have to fit the data and transform it so that we won't run out of iterations. And okay, what we'll do is I'll just give you an example. Train test split. Okay, now x train y train वगैरह, it was just as before it was. We haven't used scalarizing yet. Sorry. Okay, we haven't scalarized the data, and we'll just try to directly fit. So from sklearn dot linear model import logistic regression. Okay, and LR equals to logistic regression, and we'll do LR dot, okay, model equals to LR dot fit x train y train. So see, we have an error, and what it says is that total number of iterations reached, and why it happened. So it gave you the reason. So if you go to this, right, so standardization of data sets is common requirement for many machine learning estimators, so including our logistic regression. So that's why you want to scale the data. Okay, you want to scale the data. So what we are using is we are using fit transform, and by this we are scaling the data, and once we use that, so see, now you won't have any problem. So why we use and why so why do we need pre-processing of the data? You can just visit this site and check it out, and what you can do is, if you want to try it out yourself, just like comment out this line. Okay, use the previous train test split and just try to fit the data, and it will
Okay, so
run out of
use scalar, you do transformation like scalar transformation or min-max scalar transformation. You use all this process to make the data in one format. Suppose you want to scale the data, so scaling the data can be ranging from 0 to 1. So all the values will be converted from 0 to 1, like 0.1, 0.2. So for the linear logistic regression model, the calculations will be much easier. For that purpose is like if you are using gradient descent, you also have to do scaling. If you are using any kind of regularized linear model, then you also have to do the scaling. So scaling purpose, the main aim of the scaling is to narrow down into specific range. The values can be ranging from 0 to any possible limits, like such as one value can be ranging from 30 to 1, another can be ranging like 11,200. So the scale is very different. So in that case, model prediction becomes very difficult. So for this purpose, you use scaling so that the data is ranging from 0 to 10 or 0 to 1 or anything. Okay.
Exactly. So that's why, see, now this data was 115, 170, but if you go on to other values, so see, it's 1.3.4, so they are not in production. That's why we are doing scaling. And once you fit the more data, then you can just predict the score, and you can use, so let's just try predictions. So y pred equals to lr dot predict, and we'll predict on our x test. Okay, so we'll predict on our test data. So we have our predictions. Let's print those predictions, and let's also print the x test. So for these values, okay, so the first row is this. So for these values, we printed out our prediction, and it was 1. So the first person is going to get heart attack. Similarly, the second won't, third won't, fourth will. So it happens like that. And let's see how much do we score. So we'll use lr.score and x test and y test, and we'll give let's say accuracy score. Okay, score, and let's print the score. So our model is 78% accurate. Okay, so you can just do into 100 and you can consider it in percent. So 78% accurate. So this was about coding. I'm getting this error for scalar. Reshape your data either using array.reshape, and if your data has a single feature, or array.reshape if it contains. We are not using scalar reshape, but we are using standard scalar, and from that we are using fit transform. Okay, he used on y. We don't have to use on y labels. Yeah. We shall figure it out correctly. So see, y labels is in 0 or 0 and 1 now. So the labels we don't have to matter. What we have to look in is our features, because features are not in proper scale. Our prediction would be 0 or 1. So why do we have to apply scaling to that? We need scaling only for our features. And let's save this notebook, logistic regression. and I'll download and upload the notebook so for you guys to reference it later on. So I'll upload this thing in GitHub and let's proceed with our Kahoot quiz. And if anyone have any doubts, so please clear now and we'll just directly proceed towards Kahoot. Okay. So please join. Go to kahoot.it and use this game pin. Okay, Melvin is here. So you must have the code right now. Logistic regression IPNB and HART. Okay. So you can check that out later on. Okay. Join in fast, guys. Can you on to install the zip of GitHub? You don't have to install GitHub, but you have to. So you have to install Git. There is nothing to install in GitHub. And GitHub, okay, like there is one thing called as GitHub Desktop. So do I have? Yeah, see. So I have GitHub Desktop. You can use that, but for that, first you need basically Git to be installed. And we would be covering Git and GitHub. I think it's in the next week, right, Aditya? So
Yes,
the
yes.
upcoming week, yeah. So Daryl, don't worry. In the upcoming week, we will be showing you how Git and GitHub works. So if you saw just right now, I just ran some commands in here, and directly my code was pushed in on GitHub. So I'll show you, because if I wanna import the hard.csv in VS. Yeah, so Daryl, you have those two options. One, you can directly use the link, and what you can do is, okay, he must be asking about how to download the zip. Okay, I got it. See, Daryl. So we have this repository here. So this download code button, and you can just download the zip. So the zip gets downloaded. Okay, you can extract the file. So for me, it directly gets extracted. But once the zip is downloaded, you can just right click on it and you can extract, and you have the similar codes here. Okay, so readme week 1, week 2, readme week 1, week 2, and this week 2, you have this hard.csv. Just copy it and paste it wherever you would be using your IPython notebook. So it's in the same directory or whatever directory it is in. So you can just provide the proper destination of this file and it would just work fine then. Okay. So 62. How many participants do we have? Okay, we have 76. So guys, just join fast. I'll just give you 3 more minutes. 6:20 we'll just start with the quiz. It's very easy quiz. So just try. Okay, Yash, join quickly. Quiz is easy and fun. So just take the fun out of it. And by the way, everyone knows how Kahoot works, right? So is there anyone who don't know how this quiz is going to function? So you can just quickly ask in the chat box because I am presuming that everyone knows how Kahoot works. So we used it in last week. In any case, someone new has joined and don't know how to use Kahoot, so I'm ready to explain. Okay, 1 more minute. Is anyone else remaining? Just quickly type it in the chat box. So can we proceed? No more chat. So I think let's go. Okay. Prathamesh, right. So let's begin. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, so is logistics supervised? Hello? I got disconnected, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no
For
problem.
timing, I thought my connection was disabled.
Okay, no problem. I am back, I guess.
Okay, so the weather here in Nagpur is a little bit rainy, so kind of
Actually, it's
that
raining
might
right
be a
now.
yes.
Okay, so second question. Let's go. Okay, we told you earlier, logistic regression, don't get confused. Although it's regression, but we used it for classification, and that's discrete values.
For continuous, you use linear regression. Okay.
Okay. So only logistic regression is confusing because the regression part comes in it, but it's still a classification problem, like classification algorithm. Okay, Lavesh on the top. Okay, still many people are confused. It was the same question but in different language. Logistic used for regression? No, it's used for classification. No problem.
Read the question. Okay, so before attempting, please read the question. Some questions might be tricky.
You have enough time, okay? Wait and understand.
Okay, so I already given the hint.
You have time, you can think.
Okay, so
Right.
we have asked how many marks the students can get. Marks is a continuous value. So he can get 38, 54, 94. It is a continuous value. So therefore we will be using linear regression. If the question was asked whether he will be getting passed or failed, in that case it would be logistic regression. Okay. Yes, next.
Okay. Right, it was sigmoid. Although you saw in log was written, but it was sigmoid function we used for hypothesis of logistic regression.
None of all. Okay. So okay, no issue.
Range of sigmoid, come on.
Okay, so it has discussed from tons of time. Okay, very easy.
Okay, Ishita is scoring correctly, still on the top. Okay,
Read the
independent.
diagram carefully. You have time.
Independent. Now the questions are on regression. You have time, so read the question carefully. So it was nothing but just to read from the graph. Now,
You just have to interpret the graph. Okay, so there is nothing more difficult. Okay.
Okay, what is this term called?
Okay, so the equation might be changed. So wait for it. You have time. Just you can write down in the copy, just write down the equation and then tally. Then only mark the answer. You have a lot of time for this question.
Right. Y equals to mx plus c. M is slope. Slope.
Okay, Shita is back. Yeah. Okay, so this is also a simple one. I think Athro, you should have given less time for this question.
I must have mistakenly kept it 1 minute. Okay, answer fastly. Just 1 or 2% are remaining, I guess. One more, I think. 63 are keeping. Okay, I'll skip. So that's right. And towards the final question. So I is on the screen. This gamma is nothing but your y cap.
That's why I had your prediction, model's prediction, and yi is your true level.
Interpret the formula, you have time.
Okay. Wait, Athro, wait. Let me clear the doubt. Okay, so the formula says that function f is equals to 1 by n summation I ranges from 1 to n yi minus y hat whole square. So you can see there is no root sign. Root means there is no square root sign. So the first possibility is you have to eliminate the option which doesn't have the root sign. So we can't see any root sign. Okay. So I have told you the mean square error formula is this. Once you apply root over this, it just becomes root mean square. There is no root sign. So it is just simply mean squared error. And what is mean absolute error? Once I remove the squaring part, I will just put the some absolute values. So it will be just yi minus yi hat absolute, mean of absolute of this value. So that's mean absolute error. Okay. So all these are regression metrics, linear regression metrics used for evaluation. Okay.
Actually, I'm glad that no one did. I don't know. I was expecting. I put it so that I wanted to see if anyone didn't know.
Okay. So we'll try. Okay. So yesterday there must be confused between RMSE and MSE. That must be there.
Thank you for not selecting. I don't know because yeah.
So if anyone of you finds doubt in the particular question, just raise the hand at that point of time. We'll be there to clear out the doubt. Doubt shouldn't be in your mind. Okay. Okay. So let's move.
Let's see the leaderboards. Okay, congrats Ruchi, Sonali, okay, today we have Girl Power Award.
Women Empowerment Day.
Yeah, women empowerment in the machine learning bootcamp. So congratulations guys.